last session, the last point we discussed was Yogic Mmm Deity. This is the instruction Narada Rishi gives, and that was point number 7. Yogic Mmm Deity means this craving to acquire and to preserve is something which occupies the human mind forever. One should try to get oneself free from it. These are the two very stressful areas of the mind. Everyone keeps craving for what they have not got, and whatever they have got after a lot of effort, they want to preserve it. These two occupies the mind, and the mind is not available for anything else after that. To meditate, to pray, to turn towards the Lord, mind isn't available because these two are the major occupations. A seeker or a devotee should learn to drop these two. Leave it to the Lord. What you have to get, you will get, and what you need to preserve, you will preserve. Continue with your effort, but without craving for these two. Put your effort. What comes, accept. And whatever has come to you, and it is there for a while, and after some time it will go. It can't stay there forever. No object is designed to be forever. So the objects will disappear. So when it goes, we should learn to let it go. These two values are very, very important. That was point number 7. And Narad continues further telling Karmaphalam Tyajati. This is the point number 8. Karmaphalam Tyajati. One should learn to be detached to the fruit of action. Action we cannot avoid. Consequence of action, again, we cannot avoid. Fruit of action, which is consequence, cannot be avoided. So we have to perform some action or other. And the result of that action will come to us. What we need to do is, to that result of the action, we should learn to be detached. Many people may say this is not possible because it's only the fruit of action which is the motivation. No. Fruit of action should not be the motivation. The quality of action should be the motivation. Try to find happiness in the action itself. That is the secret of staying happy. Many people want to be happy in getting the result. A wise person will be happy in the very action. My teacher, Swami Chinmayananda used to say, the joy is in the race run and not in the trophy won. You enjoy running the race, not in the trophy. Find joy in the very action, not in the result. Which has become almost like a cliche today because many people keep talking about it where they say, like, enjoy the journey, not the destination. The journey is as important as the destination, and if we can be happy in the journey, destination we would anyway reach. So Narada Rishi says, while performing an action, do not attach your mind to the fruit of action. The fruit of action, when it occupies the mind, the quality of action would get disturbed. Too much anxiety for the fruit of action, we may not perform what we have to perform well. When a mind is free from anxiety for the fruit of action, that mind gives quality result. This is one. Second point, the fruit of action belongs to the future. Action belongs to the present, fruit of action belongs to the future, and we are not sure about the future. Future is always uncertain. When it is uncertain, it is not wise, it is not wisdom to invest into uncertainties. That which is uncertain, how can I go on investing myself in it? If I invest in something which is uncertain, there is going to be a stress, a kind of insecurity. Not sure, uncertainty threatens a person, and result belongs to future which is uncertain. You may get it, you may not get it. Even if you get it, let us say, even if the desired result comes, you must be there to enjoy in the right frame of mind. So everything is uncertain. So what is certain is the action, what we do. So the present movement is certain. If we can live in the present movement, the future will take care of itself and perform the action focusing on the action, cherishing the action, and leave the result. Result is not totally in our hands. We work hard, we put our effort, but what comes out of it is not always in our hands. Why do you say it is not always in our hands? Someone else may be in a better situation, may be performing better than you, and may deserve that action, that result. So we are not sure. It can be something very simple like a farmer plowing the land, sowing the seeds, and he does everything, and he has to wait for the rains to come. Timely rains is not in his control. Taking action is in his control, performing action is in his control, but timely rain is not in his control, so we can't be sure if we would get the result as we want. Therefore, it is very, very important for us to remember what Narad Rishi tells, Karmaphalam tyajati. Detach yourself from the fruit of action. Action we can't avoid, fruit of action we can't avoid, but we can be detached to the fruit of action. If this we can develop to do, we can learn to enjoy the very action, and the action itself will have a quality. A mind with anxiety, a mind with tension cannot perform well. That's why sometimes attached to the fruit of action, people make such mistakes. Even children, when they go and write exams, in the examination hall, they are so tensed. When they come out, they remember all the answers, but when they were sitting there, they messed it up. Why? Anxiety for the fruit of action. So the present which is important, action which is important, we have control over the action, and action is what we can cherish. There's a nice incident in Mahabharat. One day, Yudhishthir and his brothers were sitting and discussing. At that time, somebody came there and asked for something, probably to borrow. And Yudhishthir said, "You come tomorrow, I'll give it to you." At that point, Bhima got up and he said, "There is something which I have to tell you people. My brother is very, very advanced. He has conquered future." So Yudhishthir said, "What are you talking?" Bhima said, "You are very sure the person who came would be there tomorrow, and you are very sure you will also be there tomorrow. So you have definitely conquered future." When Bhima said that, Yudhishthir said, "Call that person, ask him what he wants, let us give him now itself." Because what you can do is in the now, not in the future. In the present one can practice, future is uncertain and it is not in our control. So the best way to be happy is be happy in what you are doing, because that is certain. Future is uncertain, and don't try to be happy someday in the future because it is uncertain. So Narad Rishi's point is very, very important when he says Karmaphalam tyajati. This is one. And the next point, the point number 9, Narad goes out to say Karmani Sannyasi. If you see in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna wanted to give up action and go to the forest, sit there and meditate, etc. And Krishna told him, "Arjuna, you can't do this. This is not okay for you. You have to perform your duty, and your mind is made of that kind, mostly predominantly Rajoguna, so you can't go and sit quietly, perform action." Through noble activity, selfless activity, mind can be purified. Once the mind is purified, that mind should sit quietly. After that, that mind should not be pushed to activity. Tamas and Rajas should not disturb a person who has become very, very sattvic. Activities should not disturb such person. Arjuna was not ready, so Krishna has to tell Arjuna, "Go and act in the world." Whereas in Ramayana, we have a very beautiful incident. Lakshman puts few questions to Lord Ram, and in this beautiful book called Sri Rama Gita, written by Vedavyas, Vedavyas ji has written this about the dialogue between Lakshman and Ram. There Rama tells Lakshman, drop activity, Karmani Sannyasi. Whereas Krishna told Arjuna, go and act in the world. Whereas Rama tells Lakshman, drop activity. The difference is in the student. Lakshmana has served Ram, was there with him for 14 years. Through service, Lakshman has purified his mind. When Lakshman has purified his mind, he should not be disturbed with activity. He should be allowed to sit quietly. So Ram tells Lakshman, drop activity. A seeker, after purifying the mind, when the mind has become more and more calmer and quieter, at that point of time, one should drop unwanted activities. Selfish activities should be dropped earlier, and also selfless activities at a later stage should be slowed down. Reduce, and keep to basic minimum activity needed to maintain the body and do the daily work. Only that much of activity one should commit, and all other activities one should drop. Please remember, this dropping of activity should be only when the mind is pure. What is pure mind? When the mind is pure, activity should be dropped. So what is pure mind? Mind devoid of selfishness is pure mind. There is a beautiful Upanishad, a small one called Amrita Bindu Upanishad. In Amrita Bindu Upanishad, the Rishi tells, pure mind is of two types. Manohi dvividam proktam, mind is of two types. Shuddham, ashuddham evacha. Pure mind and impure mind. Pure mind is devoid of selfishness. Impure mind is kama sankalpam. Kama sankalpam ashuddham. Mind full of desires is impure mind. Kama vivarjitam is pure mind. So when we can drop selfishness, we attain pure mind. How do I drop selfishness? What are the methods to drop selfishness? Take up to selfless work, selfless activity, and continue to go on performing more and more selfless activity. Selfishness in a person drops off, and when selfishness in a person drops off, he slowly becomes a pure person. And when that way the mind has become purer, the mind would be more calm, more quiet. When the mind has become more calm, more quiet, more peaceful by yourself, then you are more pure. That kind of a mind should not be pushed into activity. That mind at that stage, after that kind of a growth, should also drop activity. Like what Buddha did, or many other masters did, sitting quietly, they turned their mind only towards the Lord. Like Ramana Maharshi went there and sat quietly, dropped all activities, sat there. But this came after purification. That way, the point number 9, Narad tells us is Karmani Sannyasi. And now we go into point number 10. Point number 10, Narad Rishi tells, Nirdvandvo bhavati. One should become free from the pairs of opposite. Life does not go in a straight line, nor it can be always smooth. There will be ups and downs. It's a roller coaster ride. You just go up and then you come down, you go up and then you come down. Look at your own life. How many times in your life you must have been happy? And how many times in your life you must have been sad? Happiness and sadness has been part of a life. They come and go. Victory, defeat, they come and go. Name, fame, and shame come and go. They honor and they dishonor. Both are part of life. These opposites are always there in life. So Narad Rishi says, Arjuna, try to become free from it. How? Narad Rishi says, become free from it. Krishna tells Arjuna also, Arjuna, become free from it. How? He says, when your mind makes contact through your senses, eyes, ears, nose, taste, touch to the world outside, the reaction in the mind would be joy and sorrow, heat and cold, etc. Matra sparshastu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkada agama payano anityaha than titikshasva bharata. But if you realize all those experiences which the mind gains through its contact to the world outside are anityaha, are impermanent. Every experience the mind gains from the world outside is impermanent. Agama payano anityaha. They are not permanent. So once I realize, the knowledge dawns on me that every experience which I get is not going to be there forever. It is going to be impermanent. Once this knowledge dawns on me, that experience will not trouble me, because many a times people think once they get it, they get this forever. No sorrow can stay forever. No joy can stay forever. All these experiences are programmed only to be for a short while. Agama payano anityaha. Then what one should do? Krishna tells Arjuna, Than titikshasva bharata. Hey Arjuna, understanding this, you only have to develop endurance. Endure the joy and sorrow. Do not get too excited about it, nor get too depressed about it. This is very, very important. Narada Rishi also says the same thing. Nirdvandvo bhavati. Become free from the pairs of opposites. Joy, sorrow, victory, defeat, comfort, discomfort, honor, dishonor. These experiences which come to us, we should know to take them balanced. Why? When the mind is balanced, the mind can become quiet. The mind can become still. When the mind is not balanced, the mind gets stirred continuously. When the mind is continuously stirred, there are more and more thoughts fluctuating, running in the mind. More the thoughts in the mind, far away we are from God. Quiet mind is experience of God. Mind not quiet, experience of the world. When we experience the world, it is because the mind is very active. When the mind is silent, God is our experience. So whether we experience world or God, it depends upon the mind. A still mind, what it sees is God. When mind is moving, mind in motion, what it sees is world. So if we can learn not to allow the mind to stir, to oscillate, to fluctuate, but keep it steady, balanced, then that mind will recognize God, will recognize divinity, will recognize happiness within. So it is very, very important, rather mandatory for a seeker or a devotee to keep the mind always free from the opposites. Joy, sorrow, when they come, we should know to take them together. In one go, both should be experienced. If joy comes, one gets too excited, again the mind is stirred. When sorrow comes and one gets too depressed, again the mind is stirred. This is not okay for a seeker, because a mind which is constantly shaken up cannot meditate, cannot be still. So mind should not be shaken up that way. Mind should be still. If we can practice this, keeping the mind same at joy and sorrow, we become equipoised in life. Equipoised in life would make us meditate better. So for a seeker to meditate, to understand the Lord, to recognize the Lord, balance of mind cannot be avoided. This is a very, very important point. In Mahabharat, again there is a beautiful incident where Ghatotkacha comes and fights the war for Pandavas. And he fights such a war that Kauravas had no chance and the war could be over that day itself. So Duryodhana runs to Karna and says, unless you get Ghatotkacha out of the way, we don't have any chance, kill him. Karna hesitates for a while, and then Karna finally takes one particular missile called Shakti and he shoots it over Ghatotkacha. The missile hits him and this young giant now could not live long. He was about to die. Bhima looks at him and tells, expand your size, expand your size. And Ghatotkacha goes on expanding his size. As he expanded, Bhima tells him, fall on the enemy, fall on the enemy. And so this giant falls on the enemy, crushing many Kaurava forces. When this happened, everyone in the Pandava's army was very, very sad. At that time, Krishna smiled. There was a smile in Krishna's face. Bhima noticed it. Bhima noticed it and he said, Krishna, can I understand? Why are you smiling? I lost my son and you are smiling. Krishna says, you lost your son, but you gained your brother. Bhima could not understand. He said, Karna kept this one particular missile for Arjuna, and there was no defense for this missile. If he has to use it over Arjuna, Arjuna would have been dead. And I was trying to avoid, unless that gets exhausted. Today it got exhausted. Your lovely son died, but at the same time, your brother who is so important for this victory survived. There is a loss, there is a gain. This is how life goes. You gain something, you lose something, and this is how it goes. Please ask yourself, is there anybody whom you know who has never faced defeat? Is there anybody whom you know who has never suffered in life? Is there anybody whom you know who has not been hurt in life? All of us are in the same boat. Everyone experiences the same thing. So these experiences are universal, it can't be avoided. They come to us. That means we have only one solution: endure them. Learn to endure them. Be matured and deal with it. Joy, sorrow will come. Let's deal with it in a matured way, not being shattered or not being excited, but equipoised. Practice equipoised, then we reach a state where we can become more and more meditative. That's why Narada Rishi says, practice of nirdvandva, being free from pairs of opposite, is very, very important. So far, we have seen 10 points. I would revise those points again. First one is, ya sangam tyajati, mahanubhavanu sevate, nirmamo bhavati. The first point he says, sangam tyajati, become free from attachment. Second point, serve a great master. Third point, give up the feeling of mine. Fourth point, viviktasthanam sevate. Fifth point, lokabandham unmulayati. Whatever comes on your way as a bondage to know the truth, remove it from the root. And then he says, go beyond three gunas, trigunyo bhavati. And after that, Narad says, be free from Yogic tyajati. And then Narad Rishi says, Karmaphalam tyajati. And the last point, Karmani Sannyasi. And what we saw now was one should be free from pairs of opposite. These 10 points he has said. Now we go into the point number 11, which is again a very, very important point that we will take up in the next session. Thank you.